We're going to turn the conversation over to you now. You heard Ron Feldman this morning asking for your feedback. You know, as the Federal Reserve, the Center for Indian Country Development, our work in the space of Indian country and low and moderate income communities, we need to know what is it that you need and how can we support you better. For the next hour, we'll engage you in a dynamic conversation, and we hope that you will really spark good ideas. We had a great conversation yesterday over 5 different topics. You know, I was in the one on Hearth Act and as well as the TAM system. We heard so many good ideas that I think that collectively we can burn some more brain cells and get some more ideas. I love the idea that Jewel brought forward in terms of recorded documents. So we have Joanna Donahoe, Nikki Paradas, and our other facilitators who are going to be working with us around the room to have a World Cafe to create strategies for home ownership. I'll turn it over to Joanna.
I need the step too. You do? Good morning, everyone. Okay, so we heard the good, the bad, and the ugly from our lender panel. Now we're going to be spend the next hour talking about some inspiration and strategies. And here's how this session will work. Clearly, we are at capacity. We're bursting at the seams, which is very exciting to see so many folks here this morning. We have 2 questions that we're going to talk through today. And we'll do 2 rounds of questions with the World Cafe. How many folks have done World Cafe before? Okay, about maybe a third. So this will be a little bit of a modified World Cafe, but what we're going to do is we've got 2 questions. Question number 1, what inspires you to pursue homeownership opportunities in your community or your organization? What motivates you and your organization? How will you share your inspiration with others? What partners share your inspiration who need to be equally inspired? And what do they have to offer? So we're looking at partnerships and ways to work together in that first question. In the second question, we're looking for specific strategies. They could be big strategies, small strategies that you've encountered that have been the most successful strategy or tactic to improve mortgage lending or the homeownership process in Native communities. So these are 2 questions that are before us today, and you have the choice to start with either of them. You have a choice to stick with one question for both rounds, or to move to the other question. So it doesn't matter which one you do first, but the way it works is we've got 9 tables in the room, and we have 1 overflow in the room across the hall. So we'll have 10 discussion groups. So, and we've got our facilitators who are kind of getting together in the back of the room. They'll have question number 1 and the questions at each table. So they will be kind of fanning out across the room, and we'll ask for you to either move to a table or stay at the table you're at to pick a question. And the moderator will help guide the discussion, and we'll have pieces of paper to record your responses and your ideas. And we'll keep time, and then for the second round, as I said, you'll have the choice to stay with your question at another table and continue the discussion with another group of people, and you'll build on the previous discussion that's been recorded on the forms. So this will be a great way to capture. We're going to capture. This is informing the work of the center as well as the National Native Homeownership Coalition going forward. So we really want to be sure to capture your thoughts and ideas on the papers, and then at the end of the second round, we'll report out some of the highlights from our discussions.
So we'll start with question 1. What inspires you to pursue homeownership opportunities in your community? Does someone want to volunteer in about 3 minutes to share kind of those high-level discussions?
Who's volunteering? Here we got one.
We had a couple volunteers, but she was quicker on the draw. Thank you.
Quick straw wins.
Well, we actually had 2 full pages responses to this question, and the ones that came out that repeatedly were creating opportunities, stabilizing families, creating inspiration and hope, keeping talent in our communities, and increasing the wealth of individuals and building assets. And then also home is central to family and culture. And by keeping housing local, it provides financial contributions to our local economy. Also creating opportunities and creating housing opportunities. So maybe not everybody needs to be a homeowner, but there should be that opportunity to be a homeowner. And it builds families and helps businesses.
Thank you very much. And that was a very good overview. Before we move to question 2, and I thank you because that's right what puts the wind in our sails, and it's why we're all here. All that inspiration. Did anyone have anything to add before we move on to the second question? It'd have to be pretty swift and quick. Thank you.
All right. So thank you. We talked about educating the public and the partners on all aspects of home ownership in Indian country. We also discussed which partners do we need at the table. And so we thought a first point or a critical part of the conversation is the TDHEs, right? We felt that that's where individuals, households were going for information. So that would be a key stakeholder in terms of building the partnership, providing the information and education. And then just a 2-second commercial for everyone. You know, Fannie Mae we're coming back into the market, and we really want to give options to households, borrowers, communities. And so just know that we're here, we're back, and it's just another part of the equation in terms of what we want to bring to the table to help make homeownership possible across and equally. And so one other thing in terms of the impact of the family, that was a really good discussion in terms of what owning a home can do to individuals, households, and the community. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you. Anything else, table? Good? Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that additional insight. And yes, it's about families, creating opportunities for also job growth, business growth. It's all interconnected. Did we have one more for question 1? Because then we're going to move to question 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Sure.
a lot of those things were discussed. I think the thing that struck me was the inspiration. All of the inspiration was from personal experience. And one of the quotes is, "Home is where you heal, where all the good things should happen." And so that was personal inspiration to continue the work. The second thing was how you keep it going. The convenings are great, how you share the story, how you engage people, and the convenings are awesome, the face-to-face, but how do we really continue the learning? How do we integrate into the work that's already happening? How do you engage new people in new ways?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. For our second question, what were some strategies and tactics that have proven successful for improving the lending process and homeownership?
Nikki, let's go here.
Oh, sure.
And because I'd like to have us all welcome the people who've been very patient and participating from the
Thank
overflow
you.
room. Let's bring them into the hall.
Thank you.
Yes. Hello, overflow room people. You can see me on camera. So very well attended. We have an overflow room. So for us, we really focused on getting into the dinner table. What started at ground one? What did mom do, and what did grandma do, and how can we educate the youth? So that was one of the most successful tactics that we were discussing in the overflow room. And then we also talked about the one-on-one personal counseling, never taking no for an answer, thinking outside the box, and finding a tribal leader that is a housing champion. So that pretty much wrapped up ours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I also heard when I went in the overflow room, there was a lot of talk about the role of native CDFIs. So we have a few in the room, and I just wanted to lift that up as another great model. I heard, I think others use the term over the last couple of days, sovereign lending. Native CDFIs are really doing, sovereign lending and mortgage lending in Indian country. Before we take a break, did someone have any other thoughts for that second question or strategies and tactics they wanted to share? Mark? So right here. Oh, Tawny, sorry, we missed you. We'll do both. We'll do Tawny, then Mark.
Can you sense me? Like, pick me. So we have 2 pages. We have front and back because we have a lot of knowledge at the table, obviously. But I thought it was key, in this question that first of all, you start by clearly identifying what the barriers are in each community and then decide how to tackle the issues. And I think all of you are familiar with the South Dakota Native Home Ownership Coalition, and I would call this a success, honestly, in not only identifying the barriers, but helping families achieve home ownership. But that's what we did first, clearly. Around that, then, it's important to create a diversity of home ownership opportunities to meet the needs of tribal members, offer different products, and different requirements. We know that our tribal families are not all at the same level. They're not all going to be able to achieve or want the same thing. So that's important. It's important to get everyone at the table, realize that there is no one solution, and then always be working on expanding your network of partners. It's important to integrate creative programs. We've got the workforce development was specifically mentioned. You need to include integrate workforce development, financial literacy, work through your partnerships and coalitions to do that, work to improve finances. This is all tied together, obviously, because you do that by offering more financial literacy and engage your potential homeowners at every level. So wherever they enter the pipeline, make sure you're just chucking them full of useful information.
Thank you, Tawny. Sounds like diversity is a theme. Diversity in housing options, diversity in partners, and diversity in products. So with that, before we break, we'll go to Mark for your thoughts. Thank you.
So the first group we had poets. They had metaphors. So the Sisseton-Wahpeton, their metaphor is the wagon wheel. So each of the departments of the tribe are spokes of the wheel, which can help enabling housing. So I thought that was a great poetic metaphor. And then the second one we had was the matrix, which is from the Navajo Partnership, which includes things like education, leveraging private capital, tailoring the money to the needs of the community. And they started their own construction company because there weren't anybody building on the reservation. So vertical integration. The second group was a little more practical. The Salish and Kootenai, they said you should educate your tribal leaders on what's possible under Nahasda because they don't know. So they had a force account, for instance, that they hired out and made money from other tribes. So you can do that. They created 50 to 100 jobs up there doing that. Another one was to partner with your local nonprofits. NeighborWorks and Enterprise were named. I'm sure there are others as well for training and capacity building. And finally, this one's from me. It's called the Vision Thing. That's plan to house all your members and then ask for the money to do it.
Wonderful. Well, I just wanted to thank you again for a very invigorating hour. I think we have about 10 minutes, but we will collect those table discussions because we will be talking about them later and getting all of your feedback. So thank you.